NFL Weekly Throwdown, Week 18. We're talking playoff picture. We're talking who's alive, who's dead, and Super Bowl futures toward the end of the show, so stay tuned. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We got my guy Vinny Blonde is back. He's been off a couple weeks. Holiday stuff, we get it. Everybody's been busy. Vinny, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Like you said, holiday stuff, been family stuff the last couple weeks on the day we usually record. So it's been tough scheduling. So glad to be back.
Tough sledding, as they say. So we're going into the final week of the season. I believe mathematically there are 20 teams still in the playoff chase. A few of them are pretty much dead, but still alive mathematically. Then we have a few teams, still jockeying for position amongst the seeding, which is huge for home field and all that good stuff. We'll talk about it. We're going to cover all 16 games this week. All 32 teams are in action, obviously. But listen, let's talk about what we've done so far this year if you're new to the show. Overall this year, my record is 118 and 99 for a 54.4% percentage, plus $910 if you're betting 100 a game. Vinny missed last week, but up until that point, 46 and 32, 59% with a plus 1080 winning. So we're both winning, Vinny. We're both doing well. Last week, Vinny, of course, it says here 4-1, but that was week 16. Last week for me, just below 500, and two of those were by a half a point. But we won't get into all that details and crying because that's the way gambling goes. A half point is a half point. But before we get into week 18. I'm going to just be upfront with you. I only have 4 bets going in this week, and I've got up until this point, I've had anywhere from 10 to 15 to 17 bets on some weeks. But because of all the situations with teams that are tanking, teams that are, even if they've like a Baltimore is locked up, they don't really have anything to play for. There's a couple of teams like that. And then there's a few teams that are in a situation where they need to win, but the team going against them doesn't have anything to play for. So it's a tough week for gambling, but I will tell you, I found a few good spots, and Vinny, I'm sure he did as well. Vinny, did you find yourself Xing out a lot of the game matchups this week due to the same things?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple matchups where it's like, yeah, these like you said, Baltimore is a perfect example of that. They're not playing.
Yeah, they're not marching out starters, right?
No, they're not going to play. But I mean, it is one of those, like, you'd expect them not to, and that's like one of those things to keep an eye on because, like, I'm sure like Pittsburgh's one of those fringe bubble teams right now that you mentioned before the show.
Yeah.
Where like they still have playoff hopes.
Yep.
I know the game means nothing for Baltimore, but in Baltimore, like if Baltimore could,
I was going to bring that up. That made it
like, and that's why they made it, and that's why they started making these last games of the season division games.
Yep.
For a lot of the teams, I can see a scenario where Baltimore is like, hey, like we're not taking our foot off the gas. Let's do this. I mean,
because
realistically,
we don't want our Pittsburgh involved here.
But realistically, Lamar's not going to play. But if they, for some reason Lamar does play, that is a game to keep an eye on because that line will change, and definitely right now it is leaning towards Lamar not playing on Sunday.
Absolutely. And first off, congrats, Vinny, for us both. I mean, I'm fairly proud of myself for having a 54.4% win percentage positive. My goal at the beginning of the year, this is my first year for doing NFL full-time publicly. So a winning record here is good. Plus 910 is not a bad, 50. I think you need to win around 52% or something to break even with the juice and all that good stuff. But
55% in gambling is very good, especially
when you get there with point spreads and totals. You're doing just fine. You're winning, and we're both there. You're above that on a smaller sample size, but still, I'm very happy with how the show has gone. Hopefully, everybody out there is making some money. Let's jump in and we'll take this case by case because I've got the playoff percentages, likelihood of making the playoffs for every team, and then we're gonna go game by game. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers game 1. At Baltimore, and I think there's no Thursday night game this week, right?
Correct.
There's 2 Saturday games, I believe.
Yep, 2 Saturday and 2 Sunday. Yeah, they didn't want to give the potential playoff.
Monday night game either, which is
I believe they do.
You don't want the shortened week on going into wild card week. So
correct.
So 2
Correct.
Saturday games and everybody else plays Sunday. But the first one here is Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Sorry. Both teams are alive. Obviously, Baltimore's 100% to make the playoffs. The game means nothing to them. Pittsburgh is 44% to make the playoffs. With a win here, they're 64%. And if they lose here, they're 14%. So no matter what happens to the Steelers, they could still get in mathematically, but they need to win. And like we just talked about, is this a game where Baltimore takes their foot off the gas? Because like you said, why would you start Lamar? Why would you risk, there are a few key players on both sides of the ball. They'll probably play a little bit, but I came out with no bets on this one. I'm not touching this because there just isn't a whole lot to play for either team or for Baltimore especially, but go ahead.
Yeah, I right now I have the over under at 36.5, and like I would take the over. I would take the over. Mason Rudolph's been playing very good since he in that Pittsburgh lineup. They've actually been moving the ball lately. Even if Lamar doesn't play, I think they can. I could think this could be like a 21-18 type of game, and that this will just barely get the over. I'm going to take it because Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh has to win and they need teams to lose. So I feel like they're just going to go all out here. Which 17 straight seasons, I think it is. Tomlin's had a winning record at least.
Yeah.
Or hasn't had a losing record. Sorry. Like that's impressive.
Tomlin's done a hellaciously good job with this team because
unreal.
I thought this team was going to be a
they looked awful. They
5-12 type of thing or something.
Yeah. They looked terrible for most.
I got one of my good buddies, a Steelers fan, and I was just like, "This is going to be a fun year for you." I thought it was really fall apart because I think Pickett's garbage.
Oh, he is garbage. I guess I saw a report today that apparently he was a healthy scratch last week because he refused to be the backup. So they healthy scratched him last. So if Rudolph can pull off a win here and he looks somewhat serviceable like he did last week.
How old Rudolph? Do you know off the top of your head? I mean, he's not. I'm guessing he's late 20s. I don't know.
Yes, I would guess that.
Opt for a guy like Pickett. I mean, he hasn't done anything. Rudolph hasn't done anything playoff wise, but at least you're getting an honest effort. And the guy's won some big games. I don't know.
So I think he keeps this offense going. I mean, Najee Harris looks like the Najee Harris that everybody thinks are drafted every year in fantasy the last couple of weeks. Yeah. So I think the over will hit here. I think they can at least these two teams can put together 37 points.
And full disclosure, my tool had this game at 45. And the 36 over under, but my tool also incorporates that Lamar's playing this and that. So take them out as the reason why I'm not betting it. But full disclosure, I mean, I don't even know who the Ravens backup is. It doesn't even matter, but let's move along here. Houston 9-7 at Indy 9-7. Now here's a game that does matter, folks. The winner of this game wins the division, right? I mean, with a loss, all of these, there's so many scenarios.
This game, so Houston would win the division with a win and a Jacksonville loss or tie.
Houston would win the division with
Houston would clinch a playoff berth though, as long as they don't lose in Jacksonville and in Pittsburgh both lose.
If Houston wins this game, they're in. That's a fact. I got that written here.
Yeah.
And if they lose, they're out. This is a win.
Win or go home.
Do or die for them. With Indy, it's also a win, they're in, and a loss, they're out. So there's that. But if Jacksonville loses, whoever wins this game can win the division. So we're talking this is a home field. This is a huge game for both teams. So this is not a game where there's nothing at stake. This is a game where everything's at stake for both teams. Obviously, the Jacksonville game matters to them, but it is a winner-go-home situation for both teams. Where'd you come out on this one? Because I have this spread at, this graphic doesn't have it, but I think from here, the rest of the games have it. I have it at 47.5 and 1.5. Indy plus 1.5. Is that what you have?
I think I have Houston. Yeah, Indy plus 1.5. Sorry. Yep.
Okay. And then 47.5 ish for the over under.
Yep.
Okay,
And
where'd you come out on this? I'm very curious because I got a green light bet here coming up. Tell me where you came out.
I honestly want to take I'd honestly take Indy here at the plus 1.5, just because I think they can win the game. They can win the game outright, and I don't think it's going to be a one. Like I feel like when the spreads are that low, if you like the dog, just take it. I like Indy here. I would love to see Houston get in though. I
Yep.
mean, with a rookie
Both of these
quarterback,
teams are a good story, man.
they are both. They're
Honestly,
both good.
it
They're
sucks
both
that they
good
both can't
stories.
make it.
Yeah, Houston's just got a couple. Houston, I feel like, is just still too banged up. They've won a couple. Yeah, they've won a couple games towards the end of the year, but they kind of have. They're kind of limping towards the finish line. I think Indy takes care of business here at home.
All right, so I couldn't bet on this spread because I think with Houston being, obviously, is he your consensus rookie of the year, Stroud? I mean,
if
he
he's
was
not
so
rookie,
great the first half of the season that I don't even think it mattered what he did.
No, I don't think. I mean, either way, he led this team to
this team was another one. Would you have been surprised if this was going to be a 4-13 team?
No, and I think the consensus going into this season was this team was going to be a 4 or 5 win team. Like
I gave them no shot.
The fact that they found their franchise quarterback, the kid looks good, above 500. I mean, icing on the cake would be making the playoffs as a rookie, but I mean, I think he's rookie of the year. I can't imagine.
Crazy that it's coming down to these two teams when you're in and the other one's out. So, do or die for Stroud and the Texans. But even if they lose, like you said, they found their franchise. And I didn't like Stroud in college either, and it's not because I'm not an Ohio State hater or anything like that, but the curse, and then I just wasn't. I used to live in Michigan for 100 years. I saw a lot of him playing in the Big Ten games. I wasn't that enthralled with him. Obviously, he's talented, but dude, he is. He blew me away this year, and that's a very young team. And even if they don't make it this year, good on them. And for the Colts, to me, another good story. Minshew, just one of those grinders that just gets it done, and it's not always pretty, but man, damn. My bet, though, my green light bet of the week. Bet of the week's a little harsh, but I love the under here. I think this game is going to be a grinder. I had this game more like 41 points, and the line currently is 47.5. So I got it a full touchdown lower than Vegas, and I've been beating on these unders. And this is a game that looks on paper like a gunslinger game, but I think it could be a sloppy. Two teams that probably didn't think they were going to be here at this point. I don't know. The under on paper and statistically looks like the play here, a big play, green light play for me. I can't bet the spread. I think it could go either way by a point or two, and the spread at 1.5. I don't blame you for taking the points, but it's a good game. One of the only games that's playable this week, to be honest. To me,
it should be a fun game. It should be a very fun game.
And honestly, whichever team gets out of here first, they're probably going to lose in the first round, but it's been fun watching them all year. Surprise us.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's move. Tampa Bay 8-8 at Carolina, the worst team in the NFL. This is a game. No bets based up for me. No bets. Again, this is another game. Like I said, 80% of these games this week I'm not betting, but Tampa going in, everything's on the line for Tampa, right? Let's see.
Yeah, Tampa needs the win. They not only if they win, they clinch the worst division in football, the NFC South.
So there's 66% chance to make it. If they win, they're 100%. If they lose, they're out, though. This is another one.
If they lose,
I have it at 0%.
Yep. If they lose, they do not have the tiebreaker with the Saints.
So they're playing for it all here. And Carolina has obviously no business, but they're not really necessarily tanking as hard as you would think because they don't own their own first-round pick here. But anyway, with all that said, the spread is 5.5. And my numbers came back that Tampa should win this game by about 5. I can't touch it. And my totals were 40. I'm off this game. Do you have anything here?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, if I was gonna play anything, it would be the over here, just because I think both these teams at times have been able to put up points. But I can't touch this game either. Both of these teams have been way too inconsistent. This is one of those that
Crazy.
it's this game could be 38-35 or could be 9-6.
Yep.
Like
And with Carolina, let's get your honest thought, because we're heading at this is the last time you'll see Bryce Young for the year. Is he garbage, or is he a guy that can be a weapon with the right team? What's your thought on him? Because I've got an opinion.
I mean, the last couple of weeks he's been throwing the ball a little better. I mean, ever since they got rid of the coaching staff, and now here we are. They're letting him play, and I mean, I think they have a quarterback at least for the next couple of years. He definitely has improved.
He's owed another year, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. He's definitely owed another year.
It's disgusting the people that are out there selling him out as whatever.
He does though. I think in the off season though, I think they tell him like, look, you need to put on like 10, 15 pounds of muscle.
Oh yeah.
Like you can't.
Yep.
He
looks
at
so
the moment,
small, it's
right?
It's ridiculous.
Like he's got to bulk up a little bit, but yeah, I think they got to get pieces in there. I don't know how easy that is to do with their scenario. I don't know how easy it is for them to get a head coach. I think they're going to have to. I honestly think they're either going to hire the intern that they have, or they're going to take a risk on a college guy who might not be super qualified for the pros, because I don't think
they sold their soul for Bryce Young here. And you know what, man? I think they owe him at least,
they do,
honestly, 2 more years for me, because that team weapon wise is horrendous too.
Oh, it's awful. Weapon wise, I mean, they have
worst team in the league.
Yep, they have no weapons. Yep, they have no weapons for him. But their scenario for their offseason scenario does not look good. I expect this to be the last coaching vacancy filled unless they just hire the intern that's in. They're gonna struggle. I don't see this. I don't see this turning around anytime soon.
Nope.
I think Bryce Young, kind of needs to do the. I think he'll end up trying to do what Josh Dobbs did and playing his way out of a bad situation. And hopefully he plays good enough for a bad team that when his rookie deal's up, somebody can take him, because I don't see this ship turning around in 2 or 3 seasons.
Just look at the left side of the graphic here with Baker Mayfield. I mean, it's the same.
Baker right? Baker did it. Yeah, Baker did it, but Baker was in a good situation. He just was not the right fit.
Baker had a much better Panthers team than Bryce does. So for that reason, I've never been a Bryce fan. I don't like undersized quarterbacks at all. But for these people, I mean, I've seen him getting killed on social media and stuff. That's not fair either.
No,
sorry. I mean, he could be better than this. Is he a dynasty type player? Maybe not, but
I mean, his number one wideout's like 35 years old. Like, what is he supposed to? What is he?
He's been bad for a few years. He was, I don't know, feeling he's fine. Let's go to another game. Let's see, Cleveland Browns at Cincinnati, and to me, no bets again. This game means nothing to either team. Shockingly, the Browns 11-5, 100% in the playoffs. They can't. That's, to me, Joe Flacco, baby. I love it. He's been great, dude. And I didn't even like Flacco when he was in his prime on the Ravens. I didn't like him. Never liked him. Obviously, the Bengals bad story with Burrow going out, but this game, I'm not touching it. But man, they don't have anything to play for. Do I have that correct?
No. Yeah, I don't think Cincinnati, I don't believe can make it either way.
They're 0%.
Yep, they're out. Cleveland, I don't believe can move up even with a win. So I think they're where I believe they are where they are. I think even with a loss, even if the Ravens lose and they won, I believe Baltimore has the tiebreaker on them, so it wouldn't change the. Yeah,
I have this game as completely meaningless.
This is. I mean, unfortunately, it's a meaningless game. But spoiler alert,
that's why you see the Bengals -5 here against the Browns. I mean, that's the spread, Vegas.
Yep.
You want to roll the dice with some backups and see what it's kind of like This is a preseason game.
If I am Cleveland, I'm healthy scratching everybody that means anything on defense.
59-year-old Joe Flacco is probably not going to play more than a
he
series
shouldn't.
like that.
Don't play him.
Nope.
Don't risk it. Like I wouldn't play any. If I'm Cleveland, I would not play a single starter in this game.
100%.
I would not, because
I
think they look.
for a start.
They are a team, like when we get to the Super Bowl odds later. Right? I mean,
yes.
Cleveland is a team right now that I do not want to play if I'm any team.
Nope.
Because they have the best defense in the league, and Joe Flacco is playing like he did 5 years ago.
He's Joe Flacco on the Ravens. He's good enough to win with a great team, and he's doing it.
He is killing it right now.
He looks great.
They are the scary team going into the
dirty little secret. Their offense isn't that bad when he's in there. Imagine if they still had, imagine if they were at full strength.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Their defense is good enough to keep them in any game. The offense, when it's clicking, plus that defense, like this is a legitimate. Like, this might be the best playoff Browns team. I mean, I think they've only been to the playoffs a couple of times in my lifetime, but like,
and we'll get into this later. But how much trust do we have in any of these quote unquote top teams?
This
teams in the league right now have suspect quarterbacks. It's going to be awesome to watch because Flacco's one of the more dependable quarterbacks, including the elite teams.
Agreed.
Let's go to the next one. We'll move along. It's going to be a 3-hour show if we don't. Minnesota Vikings going into Detroit, and I had a discussion with Vinny going on before we hit record. How bad should I go crazy over this Detroit Lions date rape that they experienced from the Dallas Cowboys? Referee game, stupid. I don't want to get too caught up because I was so pissed. I won't even tell you. Because this game meant everything to the franchise and the fans. The franchise has been the worst franchise in all of sports, not just the NFL. And to have a shot at outside shot, but a real shot at number 1 seed and going into the playoffs, home field in Detroit, which is one of the harder spots to play for anybody, and to get robbed by Jerry Jones's massage therapy raping ass and his stupid, pathetic team with Dak Prescott, who sucks. And all the shithole human beings that are on that franchise. I hate everybody. All you Dallas Cowboys fans, I hate you and your families. And everybody who's ever been a fan of them and everybody who's ever been on the team and their families. F all of you. You suck and you stole that game. We'll get past it. I'm done. Let's talk about this game here. Sorry, Vinny. I apologize. Lions -5. 46. And I have an opinion on this one. I want to hear yours first because I think I might have a little more insight just based on being a hometown boy here. But go ahead. I want to hear the outsider's perspective.
Yeah, I mean, the game means nothing for Detroit, so I can't imagine they're going to play anybody. This is where I'm kind of confused. And I feel like Minnesota, I feel like is kind of the same way where like. I don't see them using Justin Jefferson much. I feel like Justin Jefferson will be on a very limited snap count, if at all.
You want to hear what their percentages are to make the playoffs? They are 4%.
Can Minnesota make it?
Yes, mathematically they can. 4%.
Can they really?
71 things to happen. If they win,
they need
the
it goes to
9%.
Yeah.
With the win, they're only 9% to make it. They need to lose. They need blah blah blah.
Yeah, I mean,
they're out.
They're gonna They're gonna play they'll play to win though.
Yep.
They look awful though. I can't. The line though with the Lions -5 right now, I probably take Minnesota here. I would imagine. Because I don't believe the Lions can move. Yeah, the line I have is already at -3. So if you can get them at if you can get -5 on Minnesota or +5 on Minnesota, I would take that.
The Lions can move. It's going to take a miracle, but they can move after the jobbing in Dallas. But they can move. I think it just matters between the 3 and 4, or the 2, 3, and 4. If Dallas loses again, and
I don't think they can. I don't think they can. I think it would be they would need both what they would need both
Philly and Dallas
teams
to both lose, and they'd be the 2. I think that's it. It comes down to who they're going to play against, and right now they're lining up with the Matthew
Yeah,
Stafford Rams, which is a tough look. So there's a little bit to play for, but
yeah.
besides that, I think the
can't.
Lions' backups are better than Minnesota.
Yeah,
And
I would take.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would take if I feel like this is gonna be I don't know. I feel like
No, go ahead.
Detroit's
I'm
not
not
gonna
going to be
play
offended.
anybody.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
I just
Lions,
don't think they're gonna. I just don't know if they risk playing everybody in a game where
they're
it's
not.
really right.
But
That's my
Teddy
thing.
Bridgewater is probably on his last career game. He's
Mhm.
probably going to play the majority of the game, or Hendon Hooker, the rookie from Tennessee, will get some snaps. I think those guys are better than Nick Mullins or whatever. Our
Yeah,
backups are better than the Vikings. I have this as a tread lightly win for the Lions. They're going to cover, and I think the Lions are just here to. I think it would benefit the mentality after that raping to go in there and just stone somebody by 30, and it might
yeah.
happen.
I
That's my
it is
angle.
it is a division game. So I mean usually they're not.
I think
I
there's
give
honestly maybe that's why I said the insider perspective. I think this team needs to go in and just take somebody's life at home,
yeah,
and that may
and
happen.
I feel like I feel like if it's going to happen to anybody, it would be a Dan Campbell trying to,
Mhm.
hey, we're not going to
Even
bench
with
anybody.
backups, those guys are going to
Right.
get
But
close
like,
to 'em.
even like, I feel like Dan Campbell doesn't really have the mentality of, hey, we're going to bench everybody. Like, they play to win. I feel like he's one of the most likable coaches
These teams
because of
haven't.
that.
This team hasn't won anything in 100 years.
Right. So
That's
like,
why I
I
think
feel
they're
like
going
he
to
has
still
that
push.
mentality. I would absolutely hate for them. Um, I would absolutely hate
Back
for
in.
them to get like an injury or something
Yeah,
playing in
I
a
know.
meaningless game because this game has the feels of that. Like Detroit realistically probably isn't moving up. Like
Yeah,
you
you're right.
need like they're realistically probably not moving up. They
Dallas has to lose
probably
to Washington, and
Dallas
Philly has to
and
lose to the
Philly have
Giants,
right.
and that's
So
not
like
both of those
right.
won't happen. Maybe one of them.
Right. So, like, what are we doing with trying to start players? Like, this is why I'm going to take Minnesota's line. I'm hoping that Detroit's management is like, look, like, we're locked in here. Like, we're not.
My only
This game
argument
real.
is those backups are going to run through a wall for
Right. They
Dan.
could. I just feel like the backups aren't going to win a game by, like, I feel like the backups aren't going to cover a touchdown spread against a team that is trying still. But yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the danger of Week 18 because you got
Yeah.
different angles. Let's go
Yep.
to the Jets and Patriots, two teams that are definitely both dead. And I've made up my mind earlier today. I'm not playing a game. I'm not playing any bets on games where there's nothing at stake. In this game, there's nothing at stake except draft picks. They both benefit from a loss.
Yep.
Minus
That's
2.5, 30.5 over under. You have any? I mean, they're both want to lose, honestly, right?
yeah. I'm honestly, I'm gonna take the I'm gonna take New England here. I'm gonna take New England here, and I'm probably gonna take the over since it's so low.
Yeah, it's low. It's low.
My
You're always
logic
gonna
for
have
this,
guys playing for their careers.
my
back.
logic for this is Belichick could have phoned this thing in 5 weeks ago and just been like, no,
Mhm.
like yeah, we're done. But they're getting like he's going out
Yeah, he's
not on his terms,
yeah.
but he still has the locker room. These guys are going to play hard. If Belichick says like, "Hey, we're winning this game," they're going to go out there and fight. And
Yeah.
like that, like he's basically saying screw you to Robert Kraft by winning these late games. I
Yep.
mean, this team should have been a 2-win team. They've won what, 2 of their last 3 or
Yeah, they're
something like
backing
that.
it in and winning some.
Right. Right. They're costing them draft pick. He's
Yeah.
costing them. He's
And
costing
who
them.
else to do that to you than Bill Belichick, who's the most
Right.
arrogant fuck on the planet?
Exactly. I mean, even last week. I mean, arguably they almost won last week against Buffalo. Like
Oh yeah,
this,
they were playing
like,
for it for sure.
right? Exactly. So
I'd
I
be
think
so
for
pissed if I'm a Patriots.
for
Although
that reason,
I could never imagine myself being a Patriots fan because it's stupid.
no,
Asshole.
you're right.
And
I
that's not. I'm jealous of their success, yes, but I mean, Robert Kraft's a scumbag.
he
Belichick's
is,
a
and
scumbag.
I feel like that. I feel like most of the fan base loves Belichick, though.
Oh,
I could be wrong on that. So I think they're gonna play the games at home. Probably Belichick's last
they'll win
home
this.
game
They're
as a
going to win this game.
Yeah, I think they'll
They will.
cover. I think they'll put up 20 points again. I mean, they put
I
up
have it
21 against
22-19. I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
and I mean, if this 30 and a half, like we'll get there.
I have it at
I think we'll
41. So if I was going to
yeah,
do it, it would be exactly
yeah.
what you're saying.
I think we'll get there. So yeah, I like that for betting purposes. Obviously the game means nothing.
All right, here we go. Let's go to the next one. Atlanta 7-9 at the Saints 8-8, and I got the numbers right in front of me. If either team loses, they're out. If Atlanta wins, they're 33% to make the playoffs. They need help. If the Saints win, they're 48%. Both teams need to win and help. So neither of them are in with a win here because of the whole situation with Tampa. If Tampa wins, they're in.
Yeah.
If Tampa loses, one of these teams could back in.
Yep.
So they are both playing for something here. And if whoever loses here is clearly out. So with that said, what do we have for a spread? We have the Saints minus 3.5. I have it at 3 or 42.5. And in this graphic, 41.5. Where did you come out on this one? Because this is one of the few games that actually has some merit to it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna play this game as much as I want to. I really want to take the Saints minus 3.5, but I don't trust them to win by that much. I do think the Saints win this game though. I don't trust them to win by that much. They haven't been winning by that much, but they've been winning. They've kind of got it together the last couple weeks. It seems like not fully, but they kind of, I think some guys there realize like jobs are on the line. We need to win games, and
For sure.
Carr hasn't played bad the last couple of weeks. Granted, it's been a pancake schedule, but really the last 3 weeks they haven't played bad. My issue is that they just play in close, like unless they get blown out, they play in close games. So I can't touch that 3.5 point spread. This is one of those ones where like if the Saints were 1.5 point favorites, I'd probably take it, but 3.5 is too much.
I'm green light betting the under on this game, and I realize that both teams needs to win desperately. Even with a win, though, the Saints are a coin flip. Even with a win, most likely both these teams are out if Tampa Bay can just go beat Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, this pathetic NFC South has been so bad. Neither one of these teams deserve to make the playoffs. I hope neither one of them do. I hope Tampa just gets it done because at least that's a good story for Baker. But both these teams are pathetic on offense compared to what they should be, especially Atlanta. This team should be. They got so many weapons. They make me puke.
Mm-hmm. At least Tampa, I feel like, has a shot of like gunslinging in a playoff game against somebody.
These
like
Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, what Atlanta would need the other team not to show up if they made the playoffs.
Yeah,
and the Saints would need the Saints would need to play. The Saints would basically need to play like Philly right now, who is just on in free ball. Yeah, that's the type of team that one of these two teams would need to play to actually win a playoff game. Neither are good, and neither have even shown like a spark of being good. Like, because there's been a years past where we've seen like these like 9-8, like 8-9 type of playoff teams get in, but it's like teams that lost a lot of close games. Like they're still like they've been fighters and stuff like that. Yeah. Like these teams have just sucked and literally are in the playoff discussion because of who they got to play this year.
This would be a disgrace to the history of the football NFL history if they made the playoffs. Either one,
right? Like I mean, like look at like New Orleans. Like New Orleans has beaten the Panthers, the Titans, the Patriots, the Colts, who are a borderline playoff team. That is their first borderline playoff team. The Bears, the Giants, the Panthers again, and they beat the Bucks, who are also they might NFC one of those South. Two teams. Like, so they've literally beaten one team outside of their division that has a fringe hope of making the playoffs.
Yeah, and by the way, Tampa's not wonderful. They're just the best out of this shit group.
Right. It's just an awful division. So, like, yeah,
Vinny, I'm going to throw up if we keep talking about these teams. Jacksonville 9-7, at Tennessee 5-11, and here's what I've got on the notes for this game. Jacksonville needs to win. Tennessee's tanking and they're out. So Jacksonville right now, as we sit today, is 70% to make the playoffs. If they win, they're in. If they lose, they still have a 22% chance. They need help. But if they win, they're in. Tennessee's got nothing to play for. In fact, they've got something to lose for. Other than the fact that if you're a truther on Will Levis and you want to just see what you got, I can't see Tennessee taking it too seriously. Jacksonville -5 is a tough line, though. Again, I'm not playing this game because there's nothing to be played for. I'm out. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm out too. I don't even know if Levis didn't play last week, so I don't know if Levis
if I'm Tennessee organization, I'm probably pretty good without him playing. He's been banged up.
Yeah,
he showed me enough to be the starter for next year.
And Jacksonville, I just don't.
Yeah, I don't trust him. They could go lose to Will Levis's backup. I don't know because they've been such a up and down. There was a point this year where I thought they were a Super Bowl team.
Yeah, I mean, is Trevor Lawrence really just not that good, or is it the coaching? I don't know, but Trevor Lawrence is like, you don't know. He's Jekyll and Hyde. One week he looks like a future MVP. The next week he looks like he should be on the bench.
And me living near Clemson, all I hear about is Trevor Lawrence. But I mean, the jury's out, baby. I like Trevor. I wish him the best, but damn, dude, it has not been promising. Let's go to Seattle at Arizona. Here's a game that honestly is just pathetic too. Seattle 25% to make the playoffs. With a win, they're 41%. If they lose, they're obviously out. Arizona obviously out at 4-12. Seattle needs to win. Arizona's tanking. I think they benefit from a loss. No bets for me, but not because of the fact that they both have nothing to win. Or I guess Seattle has something to win for, but my lines came out exactly like Vegas. Like this, the Seahawks -3 and 47.5 was too close to my numbers. Where'd you end up on this one?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I don't.
Game.
Yeah, it's a tough game. I can't play it. Seattle should win. Seattle should take care of business.
They need to win.
Yeah, they need to win.
Though, they're still in tough shape.
Yeah, they need help.
I don't think we need to waste any more time on that thing, honestly. Chicago, 0% chance at 7-9. Although we've seen flashes, Fields looks the best he's looked maybe in his career right now. Going into Green Bay, as we sit, are 64% to make the playoffs. If they win, they're in. And even with a loss here, 17%. This is another game, and spoiler alert, I've got about 80% of the games this week I'm not betting. I'm not betting this one. But this game here, I'm not betting it because my lines are really close to Vegas. I have this game at 23-21. Green Bay is going to win. But it's too close to the spread, too close to the over-under. Do you have any opinions on this one?
I'm going to take the Bears. I'm going to take the Bears here with the spread. I think they're playing for. I think some of these Bears players are playing. I think the fans want Fields to stay.
Yeah, are they?
I think Fields. I think Fields.
Are the Bears going to seriously let him go? Because honestly. And I'm a Bears hater.
It's not that they would let him. It's not that they would let him go, but they clinched the #1 draft pick last week, so the Bears are on the clock.
And they really do have to. I think
Justin Fields is playing to keep his job, and sure. I think he has the locker room, he has the fans. I think they are going to let Justin Fields go out and be like, "Look, like you play your best 60 minutes of football."
And at 7-9, Vinny, at 7-9, the win or loss here is not going to move them.
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's the winner. I don't. Yeah, right. They're not in the playoffs, but like I think they need. You go in the Lambeau, you can prevent a division rival from making the playoffs. I think Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields needs to have one of the games he's had the last couple weeks to keep his job.
If he even wants to stay there, but
right. Again, I mean, I think he does. I think the whole thing is that I think he does. I think the coaching staff wants him. I think the rest of the team wants him. I think the fans want him.
Here's my opinion on Fields, Vinny. I'm a Lions fan. I hate the Bears.
Yep.
As a Lions fan, I fear Justin Fields' future. I think he is. We haven't seen the best of him yet, and I fear the Bears less by taking some rookie.
Right.
letting Fields go, because
Well,
I think
that's
if Fields goes into a good situation, he's dangerous, bro.
yeah, and I think they can put a dangerous situation around him if they
Yeah,
trade
dude.
that first pick and they get a ransom for it.
Yep. Yeah, dude.
But like, I think that's the issue though, is that I don't think management and ownership has committed to Justin Fields. I think
Yep.
he kind of has to prove it on Sunday. So like, even though they're out, I fully expect Justin Fields. I mean, I think this is like, I think he needs one of those like 300 yards passing, like 50 plus yards rushing, a couple touchdowns. Like, I think he needs one of those type of games to show why they took him in the first round to begin with, for management to be like, all right, look, you bought yourself a year. We'll put pieces around you. Because otherwise, I can 100% see them being like, look, sorry, we're gonna draft Caleb Williams, and
Yep.
you got 4 games next year, and you're not starting after week 4 next year. Like, unfortunately.
And if
So
I'm running that organization, I'm sticking with Fields, because I'd rather take.
I agree. Oh, I think they can they could be dangerous. You
Dude,
trade
they
that
can get the
number.
best defensive, whatever you need.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which they
Oh,
need a
if they
lot.
get
Don't get me wrong.
if
It's not
they
a
get
great
if
team.
they get half of what they got for from Carolina last year there
Yeah.
for that,
Yeah. Forget about it.
discussed, they could be really good. So I'm
And
going
Fields,
Chicago.
he could be another like Lamar Jackson. Just put weapons around him and give
Yep.
him a shot. He's obviously that dangerous. I mean,
Yeah,
and I've
I
seen it
agree.
firsthand with the Lions being their rival. We play him twice a year. Fields he's got the ceiling. All right.
Yep.
Put him on the right team. He put him on the freaking Niners right now. What would happen? All right, we'll move. Kansas City, 100% to make the playoffs. The Chargers, 0%. That slow adult Justin Herbert's been out for a while. They're switching freaking coaching staffs. Everybody sucks. The Chiefs suck too, by the way, but we have -2, 35.5. And spoiler alert, like I said, I have no bets until a couple more of these no betters for me. I only have 4 bets total this week. Do you have anything here? Does this game matter at all?
No, I don't believe it matters, and that's kind of what if I'm Andy Reid, I am like, I know this. Yeah, this game doesn't mean anything to them, so they're
The
not.
best players on the Chiefs, I mean, outside of like 2, are all like, veterans at this point. What are you going to gain other than letting what's his name, Tony, go out there and screw something up?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that over under is low, but I'm gonna stay away from this game. But like, I mean, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm playing everybody this week. I'm playing my
because they're in
like,
such a rut.
oh my god,
The Eagles are kind of in the same boat. We'll get to them in a minute.
The Eagles are in the same boat, but I mean, like,
the
Kansas
Super
City
Bowl
at least
teams from last year, and
they've been putting together.
I sincerely believe this. You won't believe me, Vinny. I sincerely believe Philly has a shot to get back, and we'll get into that later. But only because the NFC, there's not all the great teams do not have dominant quarterbacks at all. Do you really trust Dak more? Do you really trust Goff more? Do you really trust Purdy more? I don't. I
agree.
think all 4 of those guys are unproven in the Super Bowl. So
I agree.
Yeah, man, are you betting this game or no?
No, I'm gonna stay away.
Let's move. Denver 8-8 at Vegas 7-9. And what a nothing game this is too. Let's see. No bets. The game means nothing to either team. They're both out. 0% chance. And I love it. I love it for Denver and their fans. I love it for Russell Wilson for being eliminated and being a failure. And by the way, him getting benched and all that stuff, bad look. Why didn't they just let him finish the year out?
This is where, like, I am tempted to take the Raiders at -2.5 here, for the logic that the rest of the Broncos are with Russ on this, and that they're doing him dirty. I don't know if I'll play it. I will let people know on the round, probably after the 1:00 games, if I'm going to play this or not.
Put it in the comments.
I'll put it in the comments if I play it. I honestly could, like, I could see this either being like, okay, look, like, players don't like Russ, they're going to play hard for Sean Payton here. Or I can be like, look, like, you screwed our guy who did nothing wrong this year and was winning games for us. We're not playing for you. And I could see them laying down here.
The Russ, yeah. Oh, you're saying they're going to lay down because
Oh
they're
yeah,
pissed about Russ.
I
Yeah,
think
man, they did Russ dirty. I hate Russ. I hate Russ.
I think the players union's getting involved in it because of the report came out that they basically threatened to bench him if he didn't renegotiate his contract,
Yeah,
which is
dirty,
completely
right?
it's against league policy. Like they are like they might get in some trouble here
because
if that
it's well
report
known
turns
that
out to be
Peyton came
true.
in there and Peyton did not want that. He didn't.
Peyton didn't
The
like
whole
Peyton.
staff didn't want Russ, and I don't blame him. I think Russ Russ quit playing like 5 years ago. In my opinion,
to be honest with you though,
this is his
he
best
didn't
year
have
in a
it.
long time.
He didn't have an awful year
No,
this
this is
year.
his best year.
They could have if Peyton stopped butting heads with him and just let Russ keep playing and he just kept coaching, this team probably could have made at least gotten a wild card spot. But I mean, they butt heads. You bench them
in
over
that Lions game, dude. They came in. I was fearing Russ a little bit in that Lions game. The Lions just beat them to death.
that defense was playing well for a bit. I mean, like this is like you got two big egos that just don't
they don't fit in the same room.
No, they don't.
And by the way, Antonio Pierce, I think for some reason that moronic piece of shit owner of the Raiders is not committed to Antonio Pierce yet. And if I'm Antonio Pierce, I'd probably be running for the hills because of that. That dude deserves a job.
He could get it. He is somebody that, like, unfortunately, I mean, because I think whoever goes to Carolina is a moron. But
yeah,
I mean, he's somebody though that, like, if
I would leave, I wouldn't work for that Mark Davis guy, whatever his name is. That guy's clearly a child molesting moron.
But like, Pierce, I think, has definitely deserved the right to coach somewhere next year.
He's done nothing
I think
wrong.
the Raiders. I think the Raiders are. I agree with you. I think the Raiders are stupid if they don't re-sign him. The players love him. They've been playing great since he took over. So yeah, I'm probably like 60-40 right now that I'm actually going to play this game with the Raiders for -2.5 because I just don't see Denver playing for anything, and I think the Raiders players will play for Pierce.
Yeah, man, I hope so. I love Pierce. I loved him as a player. I love him as a coach. I think the Raiders are doomed for failure no matter what. So I think it'd be cool if what you said, maybe he dives to a different franchise, even if it's a worse situation right now, and just go do something special because I like Pierce.
Yep.
Now let's go to your team, the Eagles, who are backing in, unfortunately for you. But I mean, hey, listen, the NFC's wide open. We talked about it for a second. The Giants are done. They're tanking. Philly's playing for seeding. Them and the Lions and Dallas are still jockeying. They're all 11-5 or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't affect the first round, but again, this is my last no bet game. Yeah. But
this is bad.
Actually, I'm lying. I have a bet here.
No,
I don't like. It's not a spread bet. That's why I said I'm not betting the spread here. The Eagles are -5 in New York. That's untouchable, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not playing this game. I haven't played a lot of the Eagles games this year.
They've been horrible against the spread. This is Vinny's team.
Yep,
so
they've been horrible. They just look. I mean, they look like a beaten team. They just look like a beaten team. I mean, this has the feels.
Game this could be for them,
right? It could be. This is one of those. This is one of those games that you hope that, like, as an Eagles fan, I hope that everything starts clicking and they go into the playoffs with some like great like Hurts has like a 350-yard pass in the game.
They don't need to win though. That's a problem.
They don't need to win, but I mean, they got to click though. I mean, like this team has the feels of that Pittsburgh team from like 2 years ago that was like 10-1 at one point, and everybody were like they're frauds, and then they got bounced in the first round. The Arizona Cardinals team from like I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago that started like 11-0 and then basically lost out.
Happens all the time.
This team has the feels of that. And I said it all year. I was kind of skeptical of them all year. The offense just hasn't looked right. Like if I'm Sirianni, I am doing whatever I can to right this ship because even though they're a playoff team, I mean they're taking on water and it doesn't.
I mentioned it with the Lions. They needed to go take somebody's soul. The Eagles even more so.
At least the Lions like haven't looked like even though they lost to Dallas last week, they didn't look
mentally
bad.
they didn't though.
Right.
They,
Like mentally they
they
didn't,
did their
but like,
job
but
in
that's
at
kind of right.
Dallas.
And that's kind of like, honestly, like that kind of like, I would rather be going into the playoffs with like a loss like that than how the Eagles are
Yep.
just. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they
look
just look bad.
incorrigible.
It's not even like the Eagles are just losing on like freak things. I mean, they just look bad. So like I'm hoping everything goes right, but I can't play this game because I don't trust them.
You're not betting the totals either, because
Nope.
I have a bet.
Nope.
I have a green light on the over. I have a green light on the over. It's 41, and I have this game at 48. And I think I do think the Eagles recover. They win like 28-20 or something. You know, they're not going to blow anybody out because I don't think they're good enough to blow anybody out. But their defense is so bad. I think they keep the Giants scoring too, and the over just makes sense here. I will not bet that spread. I think that spread's just about right. But I mean, honestly, tread lightly on any bets in this game because this could be a real bad backup story for the Eagles. But I mean, the Giants are bad and they have nothing to play for. Here's another game. Surprisingly, here's two great stories. The Niners, probably the best in the NFC by most people's numbers, right? I mean, then you have the Rams, who are 9-7. They're locked in. Both teams are 100% to make the playoffs, so that doesn't matter. And the Rams are in a position where I think a win jockeys them around by 1 or 2 spots. I still think it only matters to who they play in the first round. They're a road team in the wild card round, and the Niners have nothing to play for, basically.
I don't know if the Rams can move up.
They can jockey. So if they go to 10-7, they can't pass anybody, but it only matters if they play the Lions. Right now they're lined up to play the Lions. They could end up playing but it doesn't benefit them to win, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. They have they can't move.
No control.
It all depends. Yeah, it depends on who ends up finishing second.
Out of Dallas, Philly, and Detroit, who are all 11-5.
Right. So they have nothing to play for. They have nothing to play for. Yeah. So
and for that reason, I got no bets here.
Yeah, I'm probably I don't think I'm gonna play. I was gonna take San Francisco with the spread because knowing that they don't need to play. If
Stafford doesn't play, I think they're in big trouble. I don't think they have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think Purdy plays. I don't think Debo plays, and I don't think McCaffrey plays. So I can't touch this game.
They'd be stupid if they did.
Yeah, I can't touch this game knowing there's like
they do have to win though to lock in the 1 seed. I mean,
I don't believe they do. I think they are the 1 seed because they already are the 1 seed because they.
Yeah, because the best anybody could do is tie, and
and they have
I think the Lions got screwed out of that Dallas game. That was the only.
Yeah,
team
well, I think they have the tie. They beat both Dallas and us this year, I believe.
Yeah, so the only team that could have got to them was the Lions, and then that got closed out.
Yeah, so they don't need to do anything. I'm staying away.
This is a nothing game. Get away from them. Dallas 11-5 at Washington, and here's another game. Dallas, just like the Lions, they can move up and down just to determine who their first round opponent's going to be, but it means nothing.
Yep.
Let's see. This is Sunday night football, or no? This is Sunday afternoon. There's no Monday night game this week, so Washington's dead. Dallas is already locked in. This is just for jockeying around. I'm out on this game. Anything?
I'm going to take Dallas on the spread. I know it's a lot,
big
but
spread.
This is what Dallas does. Dallas beats up on bad teams.
And Washington.
That's what they do.
And
Washington that's what they do. Yep, that's what they do. Dallas beats up on bad teams. I'm expecting Dak to have an MVP type performance like he's had against these awful teams.
He's been good this year. He's
right.
proved me wrong. I thought he was total trash. Now I think he's only
been good, but I mean, a lot of it is that a lot of it has been that the NFC East got a very pancake schedule this year. I mean, I think
there's two of the worst
normal
teams in the NFL.
Yeah, so I'm fully expecting Dallas to just. I think the spread. I'm probably not going to touch the over, but like I can easily see this game being 38-3 and just Dallas just dominating.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I'm gonna take Dallas.
I agree with you. Yep. If I was gonna bet it, it would definitely be Dallas, but I'm not betting.
I'm gonna take it.
Last game. This is your Sunday night football. There is no Monday night. So Buffalo 10-6 at 11-5 Miami, And this game is for the division. The division is on the line here. Buffalo, by the way, could still not make the playoffs. If they lose here, they're still 65% likely, but there is a scenario where they don't make the playoffs at all. Miami's 100% already in. But I have this game at 25-23 Buffalo on the road at 48. And so my spread and over-under numbers too close. I can't bet this game. I hate to say it, folks. I have 4 bets, and I'll recap them in a second here, but I can't bet this game. Vinny, do you have a bet here? This is obviously for a lot.
Yeah, this is for a lot. I'm going to take Miami here at +3. I know Miami can't move, but Miami needs to. I feel like Miami is going to come out and
they need it mentally, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking is that Miami needs this mentally, in my opinion. They can still Miami still with a win could lock up the 2 seed, which I think they kind of want that.
Yeah.
I think I know Buffalo has looked okay in recent weeks. I was there when I think it was like week 4 when Buffalo just stomped Miami in Buffalo, or Buffalo stomped Miami. Yeah, I think it was like week 4.
Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean Buffalo just dominated that game. I think Miami has been waiting for this game all year. It means something. And Miami's got to prove they can beat a team that's above 500. The only above 500 team they've beaten so far is Dallas, who we've discussed are not.
Yeah, they're suspect.
They're very suspect. So I'm going to take Miami here. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are Bills fans. I would love to see the Bills back in the playoffs and make some sort of playoff
I would
run.
too, honestly. I have no friends or fans.
It's fun.
Buffalo at all. I'm a fan of Josh Allen. I like that kid.
There's a Bills bar that's like 10 minutes away from me that I go to the playoff when they play in the playoffs. I go to the playoff games for. It's fun.
I think Josh Allen's gotten a bad rap on the choking thing. I like him, but the team. I also think Miami's a good story too.
Yeah, Miami's just got a dominant offense. I mean, if they can keep Tua, the whole key with Miami is keeping Tua upright.
Yep.
If they keep Tua upright, the kid just throws the ball. He just keeps throwing it, and Tyreek and Waddle can just beat anybody. But I mean, the Bills, the first time they played, they were getting to them. But yeah, I'm going to take Miami here at +3. I think Miami has kind of had this game circled, even if it meant nothing, since they got that beat down in Buffalo earlier this year.
It's mental edge.
Yeah, and it seems like one
that I think are big mental locker room games.
And this seems like
this game.
There's all the whole thing with like Mike McDaniels. Like he's kind of like he's the cool coach. I feel like he wants to. I feel like this is one of those things. Like I don't care what happens the rest of the season as long as we win this game. I think they are going to do what they can to win this game. So I'm taking Miami.
Daniel's a cool coach, but you don't get to this level.
He's super right. He's super smart. Right.
Super competitive.
Oh, he is exactly. I think Miami is. I think this is like one of those. This is personal type of games for Miami. So I'm taking Miami here.
All right, Vinny. We're going to close this week out. That's it for the games. Super Bowl futures, because we pretty much know what the playoff scenario is, give or take a few teams, but pick the best bet for your team to win. And we got Super Bowl future odds coming right here on the next slide here, but pick the best bet. If you had to bet $100 with your wife, you or your family, your money at home, if you had to do it, gun to your head, who's going to win? And then finally, a best long shot of the teams that are at least 10-1. And so let's take a look at what I have for the odds right here. Here's the 20 teams that are mathematically alive. You see it, obviously, the Niners and Ravens up top. After that, it drops real quick to 8-5, or 8.5-1. And you see the second column there is the payoff for a $100 bet. So you see obviously the Niners and Ravens are the two heavy favorites. And then the Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, and then there's a little bit of a drop to the Eagles, Dolphins. Another big drop. So There's still 20 teams left. Obviously, the Vikings 1,000-1 right now. They barely have a shot to even make the playoffs, but then to win it all, kind of silly. But of the teams at 10-1 or greater, who do you like here? Let's start there.
Yeah, my long shot bet would be Cleveland.
35-1.
35. They have the best defense in the league. That defense will prevent them from getting blown out of any game.
Defense travels, baby.
Defense wins championships. I mean, it keeps, even if they like offensively are not the best, and they've looked pretty good in recent weeks.
What an amazing story.
It doesn't matter who they, like you look at who's in the AFC besides Baltimore, who's been able to score in bunches at times. Kansas City's offense hasn't looked fantastic. They wouldn't blow them out. You got the Dolphins haven't been able to beat a team above 500 really this season besides Dallas.
And Buffalo plays everybody close.
Right. Buffalo plays everybody close. The Browns are going to be in whatever game they play.
Yeah.
And you have a Super Bowl, you have a Super Bowl MVP as your quarterback.
That was such a great signing. I'll never stop saying that. That was the perfect signing for the Browns. Brilliant by their
at 35-1. I feel like they just make sense.
Yep. And I'm gonna match you. I'm gonna match you with the Browns at 35-1. That's the long shot for sure. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you my favorite to win. I'm going with the Lions at 22-1. And that's crazy. But here's my angle on this. And we talked a little bit before we started recording. And yes, there's some hometown favoritism going on here. But in reality, let's talk about this. Look at your top three. And let's talk quarterback. Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson, and Dak Prescott. None of them are anybody that I would go in and say, this is a Super Bowl winner. Yeah. Now you got 4, Patrick Mahomes. Yes, obviously. But I think that team is lacking. I think the Bills are lacking. The Eagles are lacking. The Dolphins. I mean, to me, outside of those top 2 who are significantly shorter odds, the Lions and Browns at 22 and 35-1. Why not them? Because this is a year where it's wide open. I think Brock Purdy's going to gag and not win. And I think Lamar's going to gag and not win. Although he is the MVP this year, I just have a feeling that somebody on the outside is going to win. And I think the Travis Kelce retirement show is on, and I don't have a lot of faith in the Chiefs. I guess gun to my head, maybe out of anybody who's not a long shot, I would probably take the Chiefs I'd take the Chiefs above Dallas, Baltimore, and the Niners to win it all. Outside of the Chiefs, though, give me the Lions and Browns, baby. Let's go long shot. Who's your favorite odds? Gun to your head, you got to make money.
If I had to make money right now, I would take Baltimore. I know they're one of the favorites. No. I know Lamar.
I would definitely take them over.
Personally, I think the win. Like if it's not San Francisco out of the NFC, I think whoever comes out of the AFC is winning this thing. The AFC teams have defense. They have defenses. The NFC teams do not. I mean, besides San Francisco, the Cowboys. The Cowboys don't have a defense, and I know they have whatever his name is there, Bland, who's got
Parsons.
They got Parsons. Parsons is great, and Bland's got a bunch of touchdowns. Their defense isn't good. They're really not. The Eagles, they all have middle of the road. The whole NFC is like middle of the road defense.
Yep, Lions are suspect defense.
Right.
They're good one week.
Whereas you have Kansas City. I know their offense has struggled. They got a top 6-7 defense. You have Baltimore, top 6-7 defense. The Browns, top 5 defense. Like these AFC teams are just. I feel like even though the quarterbacks might be a little more suspect than the ones in than the NFC. I feel like the AFC is going to have the winner this year because of defense. So I'm going to take Baltimore. Kansas City at almost 10-1 is also very tempting because they're another team where even when they haven't looked great, the defense keeps them in games, and it's like you're gonna
got the Mahomes factor. He's been here,
right? Imagine it's you're up 14-10, but you got to give the ball to Mahomes. You got to give the ball back to the Chiefs with Mahomes with 2.5 minutes left. That's what's gonna happen. I feel like the AFC is.
Would anybody be surprised if the Chiefs won it? I mean,
no.
That's what it comes down to.
I have I have 2 future bets from last season that are alive. I have San Francisco at 9.5, and I have the Chiefs at a 6.5 from last year.
Yeah,
So
that's still. I mean, that's
yeah,
still
like
not a bad bet.
I've been kind of rolling. I've been kind of rolling with it this year. With 2 of my
You
playoff
can't.
plays.
That's the one team out of that grouping you can't really say has no shot. I mean, you
No,
just can't.
no.
You
So
want
I
to hear
mean, like,
my last point, Vinny?
yeah.
Look on the right side of the column. Nobody over there's got a great shot, but look out for the Matthew Stafford and Aaron Donald Rams train at 50-1 if you want a big price. And again, are they going to win it? There's a reason they're 50-1. Probably not, folks. But out of that right column, that's a team
Yeah.
that I think has a real shot out of them.
If you had to take a team out of the right column, I think you're crazy if you took anybody else.
And they're peaking right now. The Rams are the best they have been all year.
Yep, I 100%.
And they've all been there before.
Right. It would not surprise me. I obviously I'm not paying attention to seeding here. It would not surprise me if the NFC Championship game is Rams 49ers.
Yeah, no.
Because I don't trust Dallas. I don't trust Philly.
Stafford, when Stafford's good, he's as good as anybody, and he's got Cooper Cup, he's got Nakua, he's got. I mean,
they got a run game. So yeah, if I had to take, if you're telling me if you told me I had to take somebody out of that right column, it would 100% be the Rams.
And I'd rather bet the Rams at 50-1 than I would bet the Niners at 2-1. I mean, that's just money.
I agree with that. If I didn't have the Niners already at 9.5, I would be completely against.
No, it's a smart bet you made a year ago.
Yeah, I made it. I literally made it during the. It was during the NFC champion. It was like right before the NFC championship.
Dude, they freaking were playing.
They had no quarterback.
Vinny Blonde was playing quarterback, and they still.
I can't do. I would not do good either.
Yeah,
I have no arm. But I mean,
go ahead. Sorry,
I said it all year about the Eagles. When we lost the Super Bowl last year, I was like, I think that was our shot. I'm like, there's no way we're gonna repeat the same type of year we had, and we're not. And
their core's young, though. You're not done. I just don't.
Oh,
this year's not it, though. I agree with you with that.
I'm just hoping that it's one of those things where we can bring in a couple pieces and get a couple new coaches, and it fixes itself, rather than be what I think Buffalo currently is, where they had the 1 year where it looked like they had it, and then they lost that playoff game to the Kansas City. And their window is that window might be open a little bit, but you can barely feel a breeze out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like
on that where that window is only open for 2-3 years, maybe if you're lucky. And
So,
all right, man. Go. Vinny, we appreciate you coming in. Let's keep this winning streak alive. We're gonna do the wild card weekend. We're gonna do the playoffs. Obviously, those shows won't be this long, but it's been fun. We've won all year. Cheers to you. Thanks for coming in.
Cheers, man.
Please put in the comments, who's your Super Bowl pick? Who's your Super Bowl long shot?
Let us know.
Big plays this week. You love to see it. Peace on earth and mercy mild.